People say, Don, the county comes here and says they want to help, but now they have taken everything we got. They even took the ditch. They even took the ditch beside the road. Now we're getting all flooded out. We're getting all flooded out from the packing house. Back when we had the county road, the railroad, and the ditch, we were safer. This is an important video, and we're putting a personal face. This is Miss Edith Dialis, 91, and across the street, Miss Sarah Gavin, 81. This lady and Miss Sarah Gavin, 81 and 91 years old, are experiencing, they're an example of the problems associated, medical problems and devastation associated with a commercial property breaking all the laws involved in stormwater. We've asked St. John's Water Management District to bring the county in line and to solve these problems. The sheriff has already helped. He stepped in and helped to make things better. Hello, and welcome to an effort to solve a major problem on 134th Avenue Road out in Weirsdale, Florida. Now here's a picture of when the signs were green, when the roads were all maintained by the county, and here's a picture of a ditch. You'll see more about this ditch. It's very important. The ditch was filled in without a permit with St. John's Water Management District. This is the fence now that protects the fill-in berm that sends water from the rich side of the road, the east side, over to the poor side of the road. It's mostly Hispanic, black, and poor. Not treacherously poor, but certainly these people barely make it. This is the overhead, and these are some of the people that are impacted by water that comes from the packing house. Okay, so here's the community. This is the community folks, and they say, we had that ditch. This is our little community. We had that ditch for 100 years. This is that 81-year-old Miss Gavin. She says, Don, listen to the water. After 100 years, they filled in our ditch. They gave away the easement. They gave it to these people, this Boyer. They gave it to him about 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. We had this road and this easement from the packing house. See this ditch on the side of the road? We had that for years and years and years. We had that. Now look at the water. Look at the water. She says it's gonna kill her. She gets asthma, and she's just one of the people. The rest of the people are getting a similar situation. You can see where it crosses the road now because they gave away the easement. They flipped the whole law on its head and said, if I don't mow it for 4 years, I can give it to anybody. She asked, please tell the St. John's people, we can't have them building this new retention pond behind Sarah's house, taking all this water. It'll just saturate things more. No more packing house water, period. We've been to congressmen, the sheriff, the legislature, state legislature, really everyone, but none of these people are truly experts when it comes to stormwater, so they kind of defer. Here again is a picture of the right-of-way, and the right-of-way is protected. People have a protected interest. The community owns the right-of-way along the road, but here the county gave away the right-of-way, and that's a real problem. It's a serious problem. Yet we have to go back to the county and get a solution when they're the ones that gave away the right-of-way. Simply by saying, we don't want the land, and an anonymous worker can say, I don't maintain it, so we're giving it up. So for really bogus excuses, like there used to be a railroad here and we have to give it up, there isn't any real easement, even though it's been, the easement and the ditch has been here and the county road for over 100 years. They just give it up, and that's wrong. Now, at this area, right here, we have a retention pond. Water isn't even allowed into it. Well, we'll show you where it goes. This is the parking lot. Now watch, this is the packing house parking lot. The water comes down out of the parking lot, and this was newly resurfaced. No permit was given. Across the picture, you'll see a big retention pond. No water's going into that retention pond. It's all being directed where that truck's going. Now let's just watch. Here's the commercial area. Here it is. They're not retaining water on their site. That is the G&S Packing, Scales family, Key Scale. While the county isn't actually responsible for the water, they're responsible for where it goes. Here it's raining, and let's just take a look at the water down both sides of the road, and you can see where it's crossing the road. Now this is a county responsibility. On the right-hand side is a high bank that causes the water not to go into the retention pond or the new retention pond. And on the left is the G&S Packing house. You can see the way the water roars down. This is a county responsibility because they're the only people we have. It doesn't take an Einstein to see the water's crossing the road, and if we don't have the county authority standing up for these people, we have nothing. So this is actually easy for the St. John's people. If you're an expert on water, you can see where it's coming from, and it shouldn't. And here's an old Google picture, shows how high the road used to be, and this was a public road. They changed the sign from green to white, so it's not public anymore. But now let's go around the corner. You can see the way the bank is now cut out, and the water, the whole thing is designed and engineered by the flow. They've allowed it naturally just to cut out and go down this road in a way that just devastates this poor side. And you ask, well, why do you keep saying poor? Well, these people are unenfranchised, and they don't have any way. As soon as they're told, well, there's nothing we can do about it, sir, as soon as they're told that, they just kind of say, well, I guess we'll just have to take it. And now their septic doesn't work, and all kinds of problems happen because the water is coming, allowed by the county, by our authorities, by the engineer. And they could easily get St. John's to back them up and say, hey, packing house, stop doing that to our citizens. But they're not protecting our citizens. Look at this water. It's just incredible. So it's pouring down, and I'm not exaggerating. Now here's the retention pond, and the county doesn't allow the water to get into the retention pond. And they've allowed this just to gouge out. They won't even put a culvert in, just a simple culvert to keep it on going on down, and then put the ditch back that used to be there. Then things will basically work out. On changing the color of a sign on that sign pole. And once it's changed, and once the sign color changes, the county can pretend like this is a private road. This is a school road. For about 100 yards, it's up there, it's a school road. Now let's look at where the new ditch was built. And then it's this new ditch is filled in the ditch, in the berm. And this is what the people are facing. So St. John's has got to cause these people to have to permit this. And of course, it would never be allowed, ever be allowed from the packing house across the way. And this is the solution from the county. And of course, this is not, we've told them this is not allowable. We cannot allow it because the soil is already saturated coming down from the packing house. And they want to pipe more in. And you can see where it goes now. An area right here. Here was the ditch. This is what you saw before. Here's the ditch on the left-hand side. And the water used to go down. Here's the green sign. That sign has been replaced now with a white sign that says that the county's no longer responsible. Well, they're totally responsible. They're actually engineering this. So that's the problem we have. That's why this fence is important, because it comes right up, doesn't allow the ditch, and allows for the ditch to be filled in. And again, here we go, coming on down from the packing house. Oh my gosh, watch this water. Pretend like you lived here. Wow. The rule of law has just really just gone away. We're going to bring St. John's Water Management in, and Title VI, the governor, the agricultural people have gotten in, but the sheriff was willing to remove a sign. It was an agricultural effort, and Putnam has not returned our calls. But it's just a tragic situation where you can't get. Here's the berm. It diverts the water. That berm was not approved. It diverts the water. Here we are back up at the top of the hill again. The volume of water. If that helps you to understand from several perspectives of how it loads up, then the county lets it cross the road. They do not allow it to go into the retention pond. They send it on down into the poor community, and it's a tragedy, but we will get it solved. There's a reason why we have a water district, and these people have to hold not just a little rain shower like this, but they have to hold this water on their property. They can't send it over to these other people because the people are poor. By making this a private road from a public road, it was public. Now the county can send water down here from G&S Packing, and that's the wealthy side of the road. You have the wealthiest people in Marion County in Weirsdale, and here you've got the poorest people on the right, and that's where the county sending the water. That's the only thing, the only criteria. It's like water only runs toward poverty, and that's just nonsense. G&S Packing, any industrial company, any property owner has to keep water retention on their property. You see on the left-hand side, that fence, that's protecting the berm that's sending this water in. There it is. Several different perspectives. Hope that helps to see why the water comes in, and there's been damage. This house is settling. We raised private money and got the roof fixed because it broke in the middle, both ends. It was almost uninhabitable. This is the retention pond. You can see the big bank there. They do not let the water coming out of the packing house go into the retention pond. They save it and send it on down here. Now, we've got this log that the community, the Mrs. Gavins, had some neighbors put a log in the way and then fill in on top of it to help block the water from the packing house, but the water still comes in. It just goes about the next 10 feet up the road. Now, the county does a lot of maintenance. They do a lot of maintenance, but they stop the maintenance at this fence that they have approved. And they approved the fence based on 2 unnamed workers. Now get this, 2 unnamed workers said, well, we don't maintain it. There's a fence in the way. Oh, okay, no problem then. So below the fence and on top of the fence, everything is done properly until it gets to the point where they can cross the road. So if the county will do the right thing and maintain properly, then it'll be like the old days. Water will just go off into the pasture, into the ditch, and we'll have a civil, safe, decent situation. We've told the county that this new plan they have of putting a retention pond to catch this water from the packing plant but catch it over on the poor side of the road behind Miss Gavin's house. That will not work. And folks, if you're at St. John's Water Management, please take an interest. They have taken an interest. If you're running for office, if you're the governor and you want to be senator, please take a look at this. It's tragic. This is an old lady, 81 years old. We cannot get the county to step forward and do the right thing. Please help.